A to the K.
A to the K.
A to the K. Hello, welcome to the A2theK Wrestling Show. We are here to talk to you today about the Royal Rumble, Anthony.
This bullshit. Messed up, useless, fucking worst Royal Rumble I've seen in a fucking decade, you mean? Yeah, that one.
We were so naive, we were so hyped, we were so excited for it. Obviously, we'd planned to watch it together, just like old times. And yeah, we were very looking forward to it. And I would say underwhelmed is one way to put it.
Do you know what? It's funny you say that. At the time we were watching it might have been towards the Seth Roman match. We were saying about, like, you're not over or underwhelmed. Like, not to quote 10 Things About You. We were kind of just whelmed at that point, you know?
Yeah.
But it's so underperformed. So underperformed. And, you know, to close the night out the way they did, just fucked everyone off. What a fucking shit.
It really did.
Everything had a fucking problem, didn't it?
Like, literally everything. I think we kept looking at each other like, there's no way they're going to do that. You know, that's going to be, like, that's piss poor even for them. And then every worst fear basically ended up coming true. But I think the plan is we're going to go through each of the matches in the order that they happened. But before we do, I think something which we noticed throughout the night as well is the pacing and, like, the order of the matches just felt completely out of whack, didn't it?
Oh, it was so yeah, it was really fucked the way they did this. Like, I think it was a bit debatable the first, because we'll talk about the actual opening match, but we opened the match with the Roman Seth world title, and that felt wrong, felt in the wrong place. But then you made the fair point that, like, your beginning match and your end match are usually the spots that everyone wants. So you go, they have tried to give it a prominent place, but it just felt wrong to start the night like that.
Yeah, it was too big of a match, I think, to kick things off with.
And we got that all throughout the night. Like, citing other examples, we had and again, I don't even know how I'd choose to pace it, but we had the Brock versus Bobby going on before Edge and Beth versus Miz and Maryse.
It was legit.
Like, when did that happen? What? We were like, okay, so the Rumble's going to be the main event, which it was, but the match before the Rumble was this tag match. I was like, why are Brock and Bobby right in the middle of the card? It doesn't, like, the whole thing was a bit weird set up.
Yeah, it was so all over the place. And obviously when you see the results, you kind of understand to a degree why that might have been, to give, obviously, Brock a bit of time to recover and recuperate, I guess, before going into the next thing. But yeah, it was just so bizarre to kind of kick off with that and then move into the Women's Rumble and then come out of it with Becky and then into Brock and then Edge going on, like, as like your main event before the run. It was just all over the place. Very peculiar booking decision, I would say.
I think as well, because they give a lot of matches importance. Like, everything around it was a title match basically, except for that tag match. Like, normally you want a bit of, like, you have the Rumble, it's a big match, a lot of stuff's happened, you want to process, so you need, like, a bit of a come down, you need a bit of a filler match in some sense. There's no disrespect to their matches, but, like, they were big matches after, well, obviously not the men, but the Women's Rumble was followed by the women's title.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I guess I got to stay hyped then.
Well,
I don't know. Yeah. And then immediately followed by Brock and Bobby. I was like, let me chill. I want to chill.
Like, I mean, I was surprised because for me, it felt like the first time in a long time at a Royal Rumble we had world title matches and universal title matches that felt really, really big. To the point that I said to you ahead of time, do you think the Rumble is even going to go on last this year? Or do you think, you know...
I know that was debatable. We were kept, like, throughout the night, we were like, do you reckon it'll be the Rumble next? And like you say, it ended up being the main event, but, you know, some of them could have took that spot and we wouldn't have even batted an eye, to be honest with you.
Yeah. So yeah, it was definitely a bit higgledy-piggledy, but let's jump into the opener match of the night then, which was quite...
Brilliant descriptor for it.
It's very higgledy-piggledy, it was. But yeah...
Wibbly-wobbly.
So we kick things off with Roman versus Seth, which I think, as we just said, super surprising to see that open the show. I think it felt like a really big match, and as I kind of just said, it felt too big to kick things off. And I think unfortunately, when it kicked things off, I think I kind of instantly knew then that Roman was going to win it. And now you could argue that, oh, well, no, because that, Seth could have won it and then it could have been Roman that went into the Rumble. I think I just had a feeling when it kicked things off that wasn't going to be the case. What I didn't expect, Anthony, though, was the fucking finish to it. Like, how cheap of a finish and how fucking fuming were we that they decided after all that build-up and everything to just finish it with like a fucking Damian Priest, he's angry, I'm going to beat him up with a chair type finish.
You made me do this kind of approach, wasn't it? It's like,
but it was
okay.
It was just, it wasn't even like built up to the point where that was the breaking point, or it was just out of nowhere he went, oh, I'm just going to get a chair and beat the shit out of them.
You know what? Like, there was so many beats it hit, like from the off, like, you go, all right, it's strange we're starting the night with it, but then we had Roman comes out, does his bit with his red glove, and then obviously Seth's music's meant to hit, but instead we get the Shield music. He comes out in the full tack gear, comes out walking down through the audience.
Like that, I
love the ring psychology from Seth there. That's like it plays into what he's been doing. He's been trying to get into Roman's head. I thought those notes were fucking brilliant, and they can work really well together in the ring. So all in all, objectively it was a good match, but the finish just dragged everything.
Yeah,
everything down.
I can't remember now either. So long ago, like 3 days ago. But was it a DQ because of the chair, or was it DQ'd first?
He had them in submission, whatever he calls his submission thing, and because that was weird as well. Because if you recall, Seth was down and the referee lifted his arm and then put it on the rope.
Oh,
it certainly looked that way, but he was meant to be lifting his arm to see if it dropped to the mat. Yeah. And Seth got the rope, but the way it looked to us is just he picked it up and put it on the rope for him.
There you go.
But yeah, he got the rope break and Roman
wouldn't release it. Yeah.
And then he got the chair. Because that was another weird thing about this match. We spent about what felt like half an hour of Roman deciding whether to beat him with a chair or not. To the point that I think both of us were sat there like, is someone going to interrupt here? Is someone coming back? Is something big going to happen? Why are we lingering so much? Why are we still here? This match has been over for an hour now. And we're still almost here. Something's going to happen, and nothing happened.
Like I'd said ahead of this, like there's no way we're getting any AEW guys or anything like that for a minute because of how long this happened. Even I was like, are they going to bring fucking Mox out here? Because
it felt like that would have been amazing, right? And they lingered that much that you're like, something's going to happen here,
and it just didn't, did it?
No, and to the point, I still don't know why they lingered so much. The Royal Rumble, the whole pay-per-view ran late.
I know.
And it ran late because of this match, and I've no idea why.
Yeah.
We had like half an hour of just Roman, like, oh, I'm gonna leave, no, I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna beat him with a chair, and then I'm gonna just stare off into space.
For ages.
Like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Why are we still here? Another thing I had issue with as well was if we're gonna do it as a DQ, why make such a big thing about the stipulation of the Usos can't come to ringside?
Well, exactly.
I said this to you at the time. Is that a DQ? Like, if they were to come to the ringside, is that a DQ?
Well, yeah.
And if he was...
Yeah. It's just so poorly put together, wasn't it? It was so poorly booked. You can't even say like it was overbooked or anything like that, really. It was just barely booked. Tell me why. So yeah, do you want to kick off with the next match then?
Honestly, Carl, no, I don't.
I mean, you love kicking off. Don't lie.
I'm a bit perplexed by this one. I'll be honest with you, right? And I'm not trying to shit on it completely, right? But so many people are like, "Oh, the Women's Rumble was the only good thing." Was it? So I'm going to talk about the Women's Rumble. Don't be wrong. Of the Rumbles, it was the better of the two, but there was quite a lot of annoyances for me personally. So
yeah,
let's just sort of talk about a few little bits because I can't go verbatim. I can't remember it all. But obviously, we had Sasha Banks come out. We mentioned previously on This Week in Wrestling, for those who haven't listened, we mentioned previously about her return being known beforehand. It would have been a great surprise. She came out at number 1, but we knew she was coming out in the Rumble anyway. So, it wasn't a big shock return because I feel like they can't ruin that. But anyway, she's back. Sasha Banks comes out. Awesome. Who's she going to face? Well, we get Melina. What a nice surprise. Awesome surprise, in fact, Carl. Because, we've got a lot of time for Melina. Legend coming back. Wasn't pre-announced. Awesome. But, and this isn't just Melina, this seemed to be something they did with every single... And I'll try and be clear about this because it wasn't every single legend that came back. It was every single unannounced surprise in the Women's Rumble lasted all of 5 fucking seconds. I might be exaggerating slightly, but I can't think of a single one that wasn't like, yeah, look who it is, it's that person, and then they were thrown out.
Yeah.
Sasha ended up in the ring by herself again. Like, I didn't know if this was a botch or not because Melina was out so fucking quick.
Yeah,
it
seemed to be like a running kind of bloody thread throughout the whole Rumble match. It was literally as soon as anyone who came in as a surprise, they were in and dumped out within the space of like 10, 15 seconds. It felt completely pointless of an entry. It was like almost as though they wanted to bring them back for like a nostalgia pop, but then they had no, didn't want to see them in the ring or anything to do with it other than that pop. And
that's why I think we've got to be clear on the surprise element, because obviously the likes of Lita, the Bellas, Michelle McCool, all the people that were announced, they got a little bit of time. All the ones that weren't announced, like Ivory rocks up, and we were made up because she come out, she had the microphone, she was like talking as she come down to the ring, we're like, this is kind of badass, and again thrown out, kind of pointless. Like, okay,
I can't remember who was in the Rumble. I'm just gonna throw it up on Wiki, just to remind myself.
Like Molly Holly didn't even make it to the fucking ring. Well, she obviously did at some point, but Molly Holly came out for the Nikki pop, and again, I quite like that. Nikki's like the.
To be fair, you called that ahead of time, didn't you? So that was a great shout.
They will never know, Carl. This feels like a lie at this point, but I did.
They did. I can vouch for that, absolutely. But yeah, so we had Melina, who lasted 53 seconds. We had Kelly, who lasted 1 minute and 5 seconds, although she was actually announced. But yeah, she lasted 1 minute and 5. We had Sonya Deville, lasted 2 minutes. Cameron, she was a surprise, 51 seconds.
Sonya Deville lasted as long as she did because she sat at the fucking announce table.
Of course.
Most of that.
Yeah, that. I mean, we'll come on to that probably in a minute as well. But yeah, Cameron was another surprise, 51 seconds. Summer Rae, 52 seconds. Sarah Logan, 43 seconds. So literally, Mighty Molly, 20 seconds. Ivory, 25 seconds. The only one who had a little bit of time who came back as a surprise was Alicia Fox. She lasted 6 minutes and 30 seconds.
Okay. So that's one exception to the rule then.
One exception to the rule.
But that's like, some of them were that quick that like, because obviously we were eating pizza and drinking as well. If I was enjoying my pizza, looking at the pizza instead of the TV, which I do quite often, like, look at that, that badass pizza right there. I could have missed one of these completely.
Oh yeah, 1,000,000%. It's literally fucking, a long blink of the eye, which was a regular occurrence for me at fucking 4:30 in the morning.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So literally, if it wasn't for the music, I would have definitely missed a few. But yeah, the disrespect. Put some respect on these
honestly,
names.
Given all of them a little bit more time in the match, would have solved a lot of my issue with the Women's Rumble.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean,
I just felt like there was no. What's the point in having them back if they're going to be gone that quick? It just doesn't.
Especially for me, like it was Melina that just set the whole precedent for the thing for me, because we were like, holy shit, Melina's back! Oh my god, she looks awesome. She's in the rings, big square up with Sasha.
It's
gone. And then it was like, and then Sasha just does the splits as if to say like that's all you could do, and I can do it too. So it was almost like a disrespect thing. I kind of,
yeah, which would work if they were going to any sort of angle, but they didn't. That was it. It was kind of done. Now, I'm not going to be trying to be totally negative, right? We had Mickie James. We knew Mickie James was coming out. Again, that would have been a massive shock had they not announced it, but I get why they announced it. Mickie James comes out. Massive pop, right? A lot of people were made up. I was made up. I popped. Made up. Mm-hmm. She got some time in the ring. Awesome. She had a almost redemptive sort of back and forth with Michelle McCool. I believe she was the one who eliminated her ultimately, which is awesome. So again, all working really well. loving seeing, and it was country strong Mickey with the music and everything, so that's awesome.
Hardcore country.
And again, I don't want to be negative. I'm happy. I made up she was in it, and she did make history, and that was awesome. Got a massive pop. Being eliminated by Alita and eliminated too soon, I didn't like that. Didn't like it.
No.
That felt. I know they weren't like. I don't even think Mickey looks at it like as a disrespect thing. I just didn't get like. I wanted, almost because I suppose this is just me being a fan of Mickey and wanting more than they were ever going to give us. So this is kind of my own fault. But I wanted her to get quite far in it, and I wanted to possibly even get to a point that we're going to have a Mania match. And that was all right. Now I look at it sensibly and go, WWE were never going to do that. But even getting to the last few would have been nice. You know,
yeah.
A bit of respect on the knockout champ would have been nice. And again, I don't think they technically were disrespecting it. I just would have much preferred longer, and probably a personal preference in some senses.
Yeah, she lasted 11, like just over, nearly 12 minutes, 11 minutes 40 seconds. She only had the one elimination, which was, in fact, Michelle McCool, as she said. So, I guess, I don't know, it felt like they just could have done so much more with it. As you said, it's like, you know, how often are they ever going to have the opportunity to bring in, you know, a champion from a rival promotion again? You know, the Forbidden Door, very hot topic. And it was like, yeah, Hardcore Country played, yeah, they focused on her a little bit, but then she just kind of faded into the background. And her elimination was a bit, you know...
But you see, this is the issue I've got with it. Like, and again, I'm not trying to be a negative about it, because I know it's been looked at positively, and I don't want to sort of thingy, but... You know, when you go, I feel WWE might have played this too, like they didn't want to make her look too strong next to their own talent, so they didn't. So they played it too careful. She got one elimination, and you know, then that was about it. And it's like, well, we don't want to give her too much, because then she'll. But I think they should have made her look strong, country strong, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely, they should. And then she got eliminated by Alita.
Yeah.
So it was like,
I get no disrespect to Alita, but that's like someone who isn't even an active wrestler at the moment.
No, it's like. You know, it could have. She could have been used to push, I don't know, one of the up and coming talents as being like, you know, that's something they've got on their resume. Then if I eliminated Mickie James, it's like, why give it to Lita, who's already got so many things on there? Do you know what I mean? So
yeah, so that was a bit of a shame. And then Carl, unless you want to add anything else, we'll jump to the finish. So. As we all know, Charlotte decided to be in the Rumble for herself. I assume if she won, she was going to fight herself at Mania. I don't know. But we had a surprise return from Ronda Rousey.
Yeah.
Again, this is probably more of a personal preference, but it's one we share, Carl. Didn't want it. Didn't give a fuck.
I never thought they would have the balls to do it. To be honest with you, like what a slap in the face. You know, you've got the likes of Bianca, Liv Morgan. You know, countless of them in there who are
even
Selena.
I know they're not pushing at the minute, but Selena is worthy of going into a title run.
Yeah, like they've had people in there, and obviously they brought back loads of, you know, legends, stuff like that, taking up a load of spots, which is fair dues. But you know, to just do that, well, we're just going to bring in a part timer and just have them, you know, just catapult them. It's like, have they not learnt anything from this? They're never going to build any new stars, because they just consistently draw back to fucking has-beens or old talent, and you know, just to, you know, give them the focus.
And like, I don't want to be, again, I'm this, you know what, I'm going to stop saying I don't want to be negative. The whole thing's going to be negative. I'm moaning, right? I'm going to moan about the whole fucking thing, right? So just brace yourselves. But Ronda isn't as good as people are making out. Like, don't be wrong, everyone knows she's not great in the ring, but you pointed out something that I can't let go of now, and I wish you'd never told me. And that was the fact that she was never a striker in UFC.
No.
So why she comes out and does these little Shane McMahon-esque punches is beyond me.
The thing was, though,
and
as
now
well,
I can't not see that, because I'm like, yeah, that actually looks really shit.
The thing was, when she debuted originally the first time in WWE, she felt like a fucking megastar. I couldn't speak any higher about her debut performance. I thought she was amazing. I couldn't. It felt like she'd been doing this for years. I was just blown away by her. She looked fucking garbage in this, right? She looked so underprepared. You know, her punches looked awful. She didn't even like she wanted to be there. Like, you know, did they just fucking chuck a boatload of money at her and she's like, oh, fine, I'll come back then? Like, if so, what the fuck? Like, do you know what I mean? That's how it felt. She came back. She had half-ass ring gear on. a pair of jeans.
Yeah,
and
you said like she's not even in ring because you're right. It's like it felt like she was like not planning on being there, but came out anyway, kind of thing.
It's like a pair of fucking jeans and a top that just I can't remember what it said on it now, but it just said something shit on it. Like they just did written it like fucking 2 seconds beforehand. It was just like, what is this? She came back, did it, didn't look happy that she won, just walked off, and it was like, okay then.
Even the WWE, even the WrestleMania sign weren't happy that she won because it went up in flames after that.
Do you know it went up twice? It went up, it set on fire again the second time. Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah, I was thoroughly disappointed by the route they went with this. So many better options, so many different things they could have done.
Again, we've focused on the negative there. This was the better Rumble of the two.
And
there were enjoyable aspects of it. Again, I enjoyed the back and forth between Mickey and Michelle McCool. I enjoyed a lot of the work. You even mentioned the bit between Molly Holly and Nikki Ash wasn't actually that bad. It was quite comical, but again, it's just the legends not getting enough time in the ring itself. So there were enjoyable elements to it, but it was just outweighed by the baffling booking of any surprise legend that came in. And yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm trying to remember because again, I was annoyed about it at the time, and it shows you how annoyed I am now. They give an elimination to Brie Bella as well, and it was like, why did you eliminate her? That was not cool. Like, it just felt like a bit of disrespect. I can't remember who it was.
Who was it? Was it Sasha?
I think it was. I don't know if it was Sasha or maybe even Bianca, but it was like, what?
Brie Bella eliminated Liv Morgan.
Might have been the Liv one that we're pissed off about, actually. Yeah. I'm struggling to remember why I was annoyed, but I was annoyed.
I'm just So she eliminated Liv Morgan. She eliminated Nikki Bella, and they both eliminated Sarah Logan. So it must have been Liv.
Probably the Liv thing then. Yeah, because they basically got rid of the Riot Squad without the squad. Yeah. But yeah, even that, like, Liv is a talent that's being built at the moment, and they have Brie rock up and throw it out.
I mean, Sasha Banks was eliminated third. So I don't know whether that was just because she wasn't fully recovered or what, but she came out number one and was eliminated. That's the third one.
I wasn't overly bothered about that because I do think you're right. I think they were playing it probably careful because they won her at Mania, don't they, in some capacity, and they were probably playing it safe at this point because I'd be very surprised if she's in a lot of matches right now as well. Yeah.
Bizarre. But yeah, it doesn't sound like it, but yeah, this was definitely the better Rumble of the two. And there was, I was happy with the people who came back, just not with how they were used. Like, it was lovely to see Ivory. I've got so much time for Molly. I think she's fantastic. Fucking Melina, Cameron, okay, like that was a surprise, I guess. That
was a weird surprise, to be honest. Like, oh yeah, she was a Funkadactyl, yeah.
Well, exactly, and like they didn't really. They tried to do a little bit of something with that, but they just never came off. Because obviously, they tried to kind of remind you of that, but.
But honestly, I don't even know who I would have preferred to win. I didn't want the Ronda win, and I know in an ideal world you'd probably want Liv, but I honestly at this point I'm like, well, maybe Bianca getting it again, maybe, I don't know. Yeah. And while I'm moaning, we didn't get some surprises that would have been nice, like no Alexa, which was I think you might have called there as a surprise and potential winner. We didn't get any Asuka. Asuka's still out, still not even being mentioned. So people that are like Bayley. Basically hype Bayley. I wanted Bayley to turn up and win, and I would have been so much happier with that. But these are high profile women's wrestlers who are just not on our screen at the moment, and there's no word on when they're back. And this would have been a great time to bring some back. But,
exactly.
I don't know. You can't always do that. There's obviously reasons they're not in the ring. I get that, but it's a shame. It's a shame.
Yeah. The finish as well was annoying. Just like the way it came down to Ronda and Charlotte, it was just like, yay. You know what I mean? And it was so underwhelming. It was just like, oh yeah, and then she's out.
And to be honest, I think as well, like you go, oh, Ronda's going to go to Mania and face Charlotte probably or Becky probably. I was like, I don't give a fuck about either of those matches. Seen them.
I mean, if it was done a year ago, then seeing Ronda and Becky at Mania, then yeah, because that's the match we should have got before they turn it into a triple threat.
Honestly though, if they did that now, I wouldn't be as bothered. But they're clearly going for the Charlotte route, which is a shame.
Yeah, it's like, turning Ronda heel and having Becky as the man at that time. That would print money. It would have been amazing. But having big time Bex versus a face Ronda Rousey who doesn't even want to fucking be there, who cares?
Yeah, only a face because she's got a face on her.
Well, exactly.
Are you happy? Are you sad? I don't even.
So that was the Women's Rumble. Followed that up with Big Time Bex herself taking on Doudrop. I think we called ahead of time. There were certain matches in this that were never going to, it was pretty much a dead cert, and this was no different. I like the fact that Becky had to pull out, a manhandle slam or whatever the fuck it was that she does off the top rope. It had to feel like a big finish. I like the fact that Doudrop beat the crap out of her for most of the match, which is how it should have gone.
I'll give Becky a due. She really put Doudrop over here. She was always going to win, and we called that, and it was right. But she did put Doudrop over in this. Something shocking, which is awesome.
Yeah, it's a shame, really. It was probably one of the better matches of the night in terms of what they managed to achieve. But yeah, it was just one of those. It was a foregone conclusion from the very start. No one in their right mind thought Doudrop was walking out the champ. So it was kind of a bit of obviously already a bit annoyed after the Ronda thing, and then it's like, well, even more so, you were like, well, obviously Doudrop's not going to win and go up against Ronda, so it's obviously going to be Becky. So it just felt a bit like, which is a shame because, to your point, I think, Becky did a really good job, sold her ass off for Doudrop. Doudrop didn't look out of place, looked like she could belong in these types of matches, but it was a match, it was fine, but that was kind of all it was to it, to be fair.
Yeah. I'd say it was probably one of the better matches, like you say, because there's not a lot of issue we had with it, but it was very predictable.
Yeah. Yeah, so not much else to say, unfortunately, but a decent match for what it was. Probably weren't in the happiest of moods at the time we watched it, but yeah.
And to keep our mood going, Carl,
we
went on to Brock versus Bobby.
Yeah, we did.
Could have been a great match, this. Could have been. And again, some people were like, "Oh, this was awesome, best match of the night." Yeah, I'm like, nah, this was like finisher spam. Really,
it's so funny, right? And I don't want to hype myself up or anything here, but I called this match, the outcome. I called it, way in advance as the match was happening. I think I called to you. Here's like the next 5 spots. And it's exactly what happened. It was like fucking. They're going to do a spear for the barricade. It's going to be Germans. It's going to get them up for an F5. Yeah, it's just like it's so. Every time one of these is in a match, it's so overdone now, isn't it? It's like, big guy, who does like some kind of pushy, attacky move. Yeah, barricade spot. It's so boring.
This was one of the matches that we were looking forward to. You love watching 2 big men go at it, Carl, right? So you were super hyped for this match. And we were like, this has been something that everyone's wanted, this sort of parallel match. Let's have it. And it was looking good. We got the typically what you expect from Brock. We got all the suplexes in the world. We got the barricade spot. We got all the typical spots, which could have been forgiven for me. I could have been okay with that, except I think you may have called this either before the match or during the match, but the finish, the screwy finish, and honestly, like basically for those who don't know and are listening to us without watching the match, that's fucking crazy. Roman decides to screw Brock over and interrupt this match and give Bobby the win with the betrayal of Heyman as well, obviously. But the annoying thing wasn't even so much the screw over, which it was, because I would have preferred a clean finish to this match, but they didn't want to make either look strong or weak. We didn't even get really a Lashley, what do they call it, the Lashley lock?
The Hurt lock.
The Hurt lock, sorry. We didn't even get a moment where that might have worked, or it might have. None of that bollocks, no point in doing that. No point in making them look credible. But it was about 5 to 10 minutes of Bobby celebrating like he'd done something.
Yeah.
I said, you weren't even there for the victory, Bobby. Why are you acting like you done a thing?
Yeah. It's just just the audacity of them. I call these things because I'm like, this is such a WWE thing to do, but surely they won't have the balls to do it. And I said the same with Ronda, and it was the same with this. I was like, I can see Bobby dropping this because he was never meant to have it. Brock dropping this because he was never meant to have it in the first place. And it would have made sense to actually set up a fucking different winner of the Rumble to go up against Bobby, right? Because then you've got 2 matches laid out. That was my prediction. But But no, I knew Heyman was going to turn. I knew it was going to lead to fucking Brock versus Roman again.
I think they've blown the load on the Heyman turn, right? And I think they've missed an opportunity. They could have made Bobby look legit and had just given him the clean win over Brock. It wouldn't have harmed Brock. Give him the clean win, right? And Heyman should have done his betrayal at Mania. I don't care. I know, like, I'm like, oh no, don't do a screw finish now. Do it at Mania. I don't care. It would have been better if Heyman screwed Brock in favour of Roman at Mania.
Yeah, it felt, they didn't give it enough time. Obviously, they had that moment, didn't they, where, Roman and Brock were in the ring, and then basically Paul was like, but my tribal chief, whatever, and Brock was a bit like, what the fuck are you on about? And then Roman did the little Superman punch shit, didn't he? And then it was like, oh, okay, this is the crack starting to happen in Brock versus Paul, but that was it. That's all we got. It wasn't like a constant thing where it was like building up to the turn, so it just felt a bit like, meh.
Yeah. Well, even this, like, it was like he passes Roman the belt to hit Brock with, and then they just leave together, and that's that.
Yeah.
So, like, okay, I guess there's no aftermath where you might try and get away from Brock or anything. No, he just left with Roman. It's all done and dusted now.
I also think Brock Lesnar, whose matches typically involve loads of finisher spams, like 10 finishes, and he still kicks out kind of thing. So for him just to have one title shot to the head. Don't know.
Yeah.
You still think Brock might be the kind of guy to kick out of that?
You'd have thought so. You would have thought so. That's his weakness, though. Belts.
Yeah. But no, it's
little known fact about Brock. He's allergic to leather.
Oh.
So got him.
Yeah. But no, it's an interesting one.
The screwy finish. This had the potential to be a worldly of a match, and sadly didn't deliver as far as I'm concerned.
No, and the unfortunate part is with it all is we don't know where it's going next now for Bobby. Obviously, he's going to be defending it in the Elimination Chamber. Like, is he just going to be another transitional champion? Are they going to put it on someone else for WrestleMania? Like, what?
Well, Shane O'Mac's going to win it in the Elimination Chamber, Carl. We all know that.
Imagine if that's what they went with. Like, jeez.
Even that. So he's in the Elimination Chamber. So even the Chamber's not there to determine who's going to face Bobby. Who's going to face Bobby? How are we setting this match up for Mania? If Goldberg turns the fuck back up and just like, I'm next, I'm going to be so fucking annoyed.
Well, the thing I fear from it all is Bobby's losing it in the Chamber.
Like losing it, like mentally, or like going crazy on everyone.
No, like losing the belt, because I imagine that he'll put the belt on the line in the Chamber match, and so then we'll get someone they actually want to be champion for Mania. So it's like, well, that was pointless.
Yes, it was. A hot potato in that belt to the point that it's getting a bit silly now.
That's it. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if they put it on Seth now and then have Seth versus Owens or something. Who knows what they're going to do? But
again, no offense, I'll always watch that match. But so we're going to get a Mania that has Seth versus Kevin Owens, which we've had, Roman versus Brock, which we've had. Who else have we got? Ronda versus Charlotte, which we've had.
Well, yeah.
You might as well call this WrestleMania replay, man.
It's ridiculous. It's now spread over 2 nights because one of them is a fucking, best of highlight reel.
Greatest hits.
Yeah. So, next one to talk about. Such a weird placement for this, but again, there was no shock factor with it. It was a foregone conclusion the whole time. The only surprise from this was actually how good Maryse turned out to be in the ring. And I know she's a former Divas champion, so I'm not trying to, throw shade at her, but flying head scissors off the top rope and stuff like that. Just didn't see it coming from it, to be fair. So yeah, I thought mad props to give for Maryse, but this was always going to go one way. Maryse literally knocked out Beth Phoenix with a brick in her purse. So it was like, this is how you get the revenge, is who's going over the faces. But it went typically as anyone would expect. It was like the couple doing each other's finishes of like double spear, double glam slam, the win. So yeah, just such a weird placement for it to be effectively the main event before the Rumble, which was bizarre. But yeah, any additional thoughts from you on it in terms of how it went?
No, do you know what? It wasn't, like you say, it wasn't a bad match. And maybe a tad predictable in the sense of, like, I think we both knew. Because did we both call it, or did you call it wrong?
Oh no, I called it right. Called it right.
It's one of the few points I got. I called this match, and it was kind of the right call. It's predictable in the right way for me, so I'm not even that much of an issue with that. I think you're right. Maryse really showed here, and it kind of makes you miss her as a women's wrestler, doesn't it? You know, like she was really good, and I don't think she ever really had a proper run, like a proper run in the WWE. Like life took over. That's fair enough. These things happen.
She could definitely still go if she wanted to give it another go.
Oh, definitely. And maybe this is give her the taste for it, and she might do. But no, I thought it was really good, and I think I did like the fact that they hit both finishes, like you say. I think at the point when they hit both dual spears, I think you commented on it, and it was like, yeah, it's a bit, well, not cheesy, but you know what I mean. But then they hit Beth as well, so I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. They do things as a couple, isn't that nice? And a nod to Beth's attire. I believe that was a homage to Luna.
Oh, nice. I didn't even pick up on that at the time.
Yeah, the makeup on the face. I think she's alluded to it on social media since. But that was a nice touch as well. But no, it wasn't a bad match. It was strangely placed, but it was overall, again, another fairly decent match for the night.
Yeah, agreed. Which takes us, Anthony, to the main event of the evening. The Rumble.
Yep. The fucking Rumble.
Fucking Rumble. Let me remind myself of how it went down via the Wikipedias on here. So obviously AJ and Shinsuke kicking things off. Okay.
Nice little nod to AJ. Obviously kicking the show off on his debut as well. You know.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, it was just somewhat underwhelming, really, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, we'll do a similar thing we did to Women's Rumble, because I want to prove the point of how shit they use legends. Of the surprises that we weren't expecting, Carl, how long did those surprises last?
So
did we even get a lot of surprises?
We kind of really didn't, to be fair.
Wow, this is so predictable. Shane O'Mac, and he lasted longer than I wanted him to. Bad Bunny. All right, this actually doesn't prove that we didn't get a lot of surprises, and the ones we did were in there annoyingly long. So
yeah, longer than they probably needed.
Different experience. This one, different experience. So let's talk firstly about a bit of a random way to do it, but just because I've seen it and it annoyed me. Celebrity entrance.
Okay.
I get, like, we knew Johnny Knoxville was coming into it, relatively inoffensive. I get it. For me, a waste of a spot. But I live with it. We knew about it, and it was done to promote whatever, right? But to get Bad Bunny as well, wasting a fucking spot. And don't be wrong, nothing against Bad Bunny. He's actually surprisingly good in the ring, considering, he's not a wrestler, but he was in there for, I want to say, about 7 minutes or so, and did surprisingly well. But at the same time, you go, well, it's a waste of a spot. You're not a wrestler. You're not planning on being a wrestler. You're not promoting anything. Not that I don't even like it when they're there because they're promoting something like Johnny Knoxville. But even when you are, at least it makes a little bit of sense. He was just there because he wanted to be, and I'm like, well, okay, but like, are we really that devoid of wrestlers at the moment that like we'll just waste a spot?
Yeah, I don't. It's a weird one, and people absolutely love Bad Bunny, and I think you've got to give him props for the effort he's put into train. He's definitely one of the better celebrity performers in the ring. I
totally agree. Like, he did really well in his position. I just think it's a shame that like he was never going to go on to win it, and he's not going to be a wrestler by all accounts. He's going to carry on with his music career. So for me, I'm just like, it's a waste, isn't it? It's a waste.
Yeah, I mean, to come out 27th, so effectively he was part of the final four. So you've got that, but I mean, for me, Johnny Knoxville lasted 1 minute and 26 seconds, and he was eliminated by Sami Zayn. So it was like all them weeks worth of like Zayn and all this kind of stuff, and Knoxville eliminating Sami and all those things, and then it was like then Sami just eliminated him. It was like, okay, that was worth all that then for all them weeks.
Yep.
Yeah.
Totally. But he's got a film coming out, so watch that.
But it was like, the weird thing with this one from memory is the people that you actually... So, AJ Styles was eliminated 14th, so halfway through the Rumble. So there was only a select number of people that we thought might make it to the end. One was AJ Styles, who was eliminated 14th. Austin Theory was an outlander.
Well, briefly, let's talk about who eliminated AJ Styles, because this was another thing that was pissing me off about this Rumble.
Madcap Moss.
So much prominence for people who we aren't over and we don't give a shit about. Both Madcap Moss and the other cunt.
Yeah.
What's his name? Rick Boogs. Annoyingly long in the match, them two.
Exactly. So obviously AJ was eliminated 14th. Austin Theory was a bit of an outlier, but he was eliminated 11th. Damian Priest was eliminated. He came in 7th and was eliminated. He was eliminated 7th. So yeah, he didn't have much. I mean, he was in there for 11 minutes, but
it's the Damian side for you.
Yeah. Who else did we get?
We got a surprise Drew.
So we did get a surprise Drew.
That was a pleasant surprise. That was good. That was a good moment.
It was, but yeah, it's like, well, he's back, but he's still, he made it to the final two, didn't he?
Given how they used him towards the end, and we'll get on to that. Given what they used him for, it's annoying, but it was nice to see him back sooner than expected, and I like that. That was good.
Yeah,
worthy. That was worthy.
Kevin Owens as well, eliminated by Shane McMahon. So Kevin Owens came in number 22. He was the 22nd person eliminated, so he was in there 11 minutes.
Shane O'Mac, another fantastic waste of a spot. We had 3 spots in this Rumble that were just pointless.
Where was when did Big E come in? Oh, he was number 26. He was the 26th entrance. He was the 23rd eliminated. He was only in there 6 minutes.
It shows you how far down the card they've put him now, really, doesn't it?
Yeah. Randy Orton was only in there 2 minutes.
Although Riddle got a better showing, didn't he? Riddle was in there for 19 minutes. Go Riddle.
Yeah. So who was the Iron Man then, AJ? He was in there the longest, 20-odd minutes, wasn't
he? It looks like he might have been,
AJ and then Dolph.
19s, Dolph with the 20.
Oh no, Austin Theory 22. So, yeah.
AJ, the Iron Man there. Iron Man AJ. And obviously, let's talk briefly about. I do feel bad for Kofi. This isn't a negative of the Rumble overall. Kofi tried to hit the spot like he normally does on a Rumble. I think they missed last year, or maybe the last couple of years. But we normally get a wild spot of him trying to get back in the ring. By all accounts, this was what was meant to happen. But he just didn't manage to keep his feet up when he went out. He jumped over to the barricade, or was pushed over or whatever, but tried to land on the barricade and his feet touched. So he was eliminated shockingly quick. But by all accounts, he was meant to be involved in some spots with Big E and the like going forward. So,
which could, in fairness, could explain why Big E was only in there like 6 minutes or whatever. Maybe just he decided, he didn't have much else to do.
Well,
so,
for me, and this is speculative, Big E was eliminated by RK Bro, essentially. So I'm wondering whether they were going to have a bit of a back and forth between those two tag teams. And ultimately, like you say, that's where they've had to sort of call it a bit differently. But maybe it was always the plan to have them go against them. Do you know what I mean? And obviously Kofi just went to do it,
Maybe that's the Mania match then. Maybe it's New Day versus RK Bro.
Yeah, it's just a thought.
Well, if you've called it, then bloody hell, that's it's in advance there, to be fair. But
in advance. But again, this, as a Rumble goes, there weren't a great deal of surprises. The ones that were relatively, like, the Shane one was shit.
Mm-hmm.
The Drew one was great. The Bad Bunny one lands firmly in the middle of those two, really. And nothing else was really that big, was it?
Well, except for the final entrance, Anthony.
The final fucking entrance. Which, let's talk about kayfabe for a sec, right? So, final entrant, Carl, who was it?
It was the one and only Brock Lesnar.
Right, so, was Brock always number 30?
Well, it's funny, I saw Corey Graves tweeted, it's basically said, Brock stole my number, or something like that.
At least there's some explanation.
as a bit of a joke, I think everyone was speculating he was going to be in it because he's now cleared to get in the ring again.
Yeah, he's been cleared. Yeah.
So I think, that was the expectation. But no, you're absolutely right. It's like, how did that happen then? Like, obviously there must have been a number 30 already planned, surely. You know what I mean? They don't just leave it open.
I've got a vague memory of when we were teens, right? They actually did something like this. I want to say it might have been Test, right? took someone's spot in the Rumble and just beat the shit out of them backstage and took their position.
It might have been someone took Test's spot. It might have been Test who was the one who got his ass kicked, and then someone took it. I can't remember.
Well, I feel like something like that's happening where they've actually bothered explaining how they've ended up in there.
Yeah.
Whereas now they just go, he's Brock, he does what he wants. Like, they might as well have made it, like, if they made him 31, I'd have been shocked. I'd be like, how's he got that much throw in the company that he can be an entrant that wasn't even there? But
well,
it's
exactly.
like, yeah, somebody had a spot that Brock took, but we're not going to bother explaining that.
The thing is, though, as well, is that by taking Heyman off him and putting him back with Roman, like, immediately he's lost some of that pull. Like, you know, the reason why he explained how it worked last time, how he was inserted into the title picture, is because that's what Paul Heyman does. So how did he do it this time? He hasn't even got Paul Heyman there.
What Brock does.
Yeah.
Right, let's talk about the biggest issue we had. Like, Brock's come in, Brock's cleared house. We ended up with this last little, and I know they were trying to do like a clever nod. We ended up with Drew and Brock in the last moments, and we've had them before. It was a nice little nod between the two, but ultimately Brock wins and eliminates Drew. Everyone's pissed off. Well, we are anyway. Brock points at the sign goes on fire, crowd runs. Right, that's how it was meant to go. But we both said before he was a surprise entrance and before any of this, we don't want something like this for Brock because Brock doesn't need the Rumble.
No.
Like, they're going to have to fabricate some way of getting another title picture anyway for Mania. So why not use the Rumble for that one? Because Brock is the type of person who can go, I want another match.
Yeah,
get it.
That's what baffles me about the whole thing. It's like, if you're going to put the title on Bobby, then use this as a way to set up a rivalry that's going to make sense for Bobby going forward. And now they've had to just go, I know, we'll just throw Bobby in the Elimination Chamber and do it that way then. And it's like, well, okay, but I believe Brock Lesnar's entered himself into the chamber as well. So what? So is Brock gonna win the title back off Bobby, and then is he still gonna get title versus title after all? After all of that,
imagine that.
That would just
everything
be the biggest.
You've watched the last few months has been pointless.
That would just be the biggest fuck you ever, wouldn't it?
It really would. But it's like, for me, and I know a lot of people wouldn't like this, and I don't know how you feel about the size clash, but AJ Styles winning it and facing Bobby would have been fine. I would have been totally fine with that.
Yeah, I could have.
I'm not sure he'd be able to hit a Styles clash on the guy, but he's got other offense.
I wouldn't put it past him, to be fair. He's surprisingly strong for his size, but
not so much strong. I'm like talking height difference. His head would already be on the floor. Like, I don't know how we're going to execute this.
Good point. I mean, to be fair, Bobby's not actually that tall, so you might get away with it.
Yeah, I suppose he's just
wide. Not tall, he's wide. Yeah, I think it was just such an underwhelming show, unfortunately. We were so hyped, like we always are for our Rumbles, and it's easy to say in the heat of the moment and stuff like that, but I legitimately can't think of a more recent, Rumble that was as bad as this. Obviously, you've got the time that you had Roman ended up winning it when it was Kane and Big Show cleaning house, and then The Rock came down, everyone shat on it. But even that was probably better than this because at least it made sense in terms of.
Wasn't that year the year that Roman got like a sore knee or something and disappeared for most of the Rumble though?
Well, it might have been, yeah.
He's injured. He's not coming back. Like that was going to be a good storyline to tell. Comes back at the last minute, wins the fucking thing.
At least he was in the Rumble though, not just Brock going, okay, I'm 30 now. Well, all right. So yeah, I don't know anymore.
Honestly, I was wondering to myself, people have overhyped it. I might have overhyped it internally and gone, we were going to get some big surprises. And let's be honest, I think we were all expecting something like maybe an Impact thing because they've obviously got to deal with Impact. I was really hoping quietly it wasn't going to happen. I was really hoping for MJF. Wasn't going to happen, but and then to not even get your typical surprises like Hurricane and stuff like that. It's like, we're not going to surprise you. You know what surprise you can have? You can have Shane McMahon and you can fucking like it. I'm like, what's this? Why have you done this to me?
Yeah.
We didn't even get our usual Legends surprises. In previous years, even stupid things like Jeff Jarrett have been worth a chuckle, you know what I mean? We got nothing.
Yeah. The surprising thing for me is I didn't even think we were going to get any surprises and I was still underwhelmed. That's ultimately the sad part about it. I think the point you made is they both just felt pointless.
Yep.
There's literally no point to anything that happened here, because you've had Roman Seth, and Roman just, that whole thing was just mental. You know, let's just get disqualified anyway. Well, if that's the case, what was the point in the New Day, in the Usos being banned and all that good stuff? It's like, well, that was pointless. And then obviously the Women's Rumble, well, Ronda turned up, as we said. As soon as we heard that, we knew she was winning it. And then
you said that,
for Brock,
if Ronda turns up, she's winning it.
Yeah.
You said that, and you were totally fucking
right. 1,000,000%. I just didn't think that she'd be back, because I know that her heart's not in it. And as you can fucking clearly see from the look on her face, yeah, that's true. So obviously she's here for the dollars. So
this is pointing at the Mania sound like that thing.
Oh, yeah, exactly. So yeah, you know, basically the winner is MMA because
and so there was another little bit we didn't mention on the Women's Rumble, like the Shayna Baszler's not been used in months, and they brought her back just so she could look at Ronda like, hey, I know you from another place.
Exactly, and then that
was the extent of it. You're like, okay, cool.
Yeah, yeah, just an absolutely terrible Rumble. It doesn't leave me super excited for WrestleMania either, unfortunately. So
again, the WrestleMania is going to be nothing that we haven't seen before by the looks of it.
No, and it's like we both really wanted to love it. You know what I mean? As well, like we don't purposely set out to shit on WWE.
No,
like
I love the Rumble. The Rumble is my favorite pay-per-view.
That's what shocked me though. Like the amount of people who have found it to be actually a good Rumble is baffling me, because I can't understand how you would even think that.
That's where I turn into one of these smarky wrestling knobheads, and I'm like, why? Explain yourself.
Maybe we're old. Understand. Maybe we're too old now. We don't get it. It's passed us by. But yeah,
I don't get it. They're all TikToking. What's this?
But yeah, I don't know. It was thoroughly.
Like, we're getting old, but they had like a 50-year-old Johnny Knoxville dressed like a tit to promote a film where he's going to be a tit. It's like, yeah, we're all getting old, Carl. This was pretty much made for our generation.
This is true, to be fair.
Most of the kids watching it are like, Daddy, who's that old man?
Stop. He's just broke it. So yeah, so that was the Royal Rumble. Gutting for the pair of us who, like dickheads, stayed up till 5 o'clock in the morning to basically look at each other and go, why did we do that? But
why? Yeah, and it ran late. It ran late to disappoint us as well, guys.
I know. But yeah, I guess let's see what happens now on the road to WrestleMania. Obviously, we've got Elimination Chamber coming up, which will be on a more favourable time for us because it's in Saudi. Well, so yeah, so we'll see how it all unfolds. But yeah, thank you for joining. Let us know, what did you think about the Rumble? Did you enjoy it? What did you think of the surprise entrance or lack thereof? Yeah, let us know your thoughts in the comments. As always, make sure you follow us on all the socials. If you're watching this, make sure you listen to us when you're out and about. If you're listening to this and when you're sat at home, look at our beautiful faces. Watch us on YouTube. And also, Pro Wrestling Tees got a sale on today and tomorrow. So if you're watching this, as soon as it comes out, make sure you get 20% off our cool merch. And yeah, I think that's it. I think we're done.
That's it. Exhausted.
We're exhausted. I'm almost as tired as I was watching the bloody Rumble. So yeah, we will see you same time next week with some other fun-filled segments. So yeah, until then, here is the one and only Griff Garrison to say goodbye.
This is Griff Garrison, and you're listening to A to the K.
A to the K. A to the K.
A to the K.